Hi, and welcome to the Contenders Corner Podcast, where we talk everything that is wrestling. I am your host, Jason, and join me as I dissect this episode of Hardtalk. We are an unbiased show here, and we'll go into this episode with an open mind, whether it's good, whether it's bad. We aren't afraid to hit home some honest, fungus thoughts. I'm joined by Scott, Tim, and hopefully Ian today. And please, guys, if you're new to this, then please like, share, comment and subscribe, and comment in the comment section below and share with us your opinions and your thoughts of what wrestling has been like over the past 4 to 5 months. Stay with us as we have a lot to discuss here on YouTube. Are you ready? This is Hard Talk. We're also introducing a brand new shop on eBay, which is Retro House 45, where we sell everything retro, figures, wrestling t-shirts, you name it, guys. It's on there on Retro House 45. Click the link in the description below this video and you'll go straight to our eBay shop on eBay. Guys, straight with this. 4 to 5 months have erupted the world of wrestling. We've seen some crazy changes in WWE. We've got Shawn Michaels at the helm of NXT Creative. You've got Triple H at the helm of WWE. Stephanie McMahon is now the interim CEO. Vince McMahon has left, retired, and AEW have had some shocking rumours come out of All Out with CM Punk and the Elite. Suspensions, massive suspensions. But AEW seems, over the past 2 weeks, since we have been gone from YouTube, everyone thought it was going to look crazy without CM Punk. It was going to look bad without the Elite, Kenny Omega. But Scott, have AEW done really well introducing this Grand Slam? Have they done better than what people anticipated? You know, people were anticipating AEW were going to look bad. Has it looked heavy without? Has it looked heavy without them?
I think, considering what's happened, I think the show that they've booked for tonight is actually quite a good one.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, even if CM Punk wasn't suspended, I mean, he's injured anyway, so you couldn't really wrestle regardless because he's got another serious injury. And this time, AEW done the right thing by going down a tournament route to crown new champion rather than giving it the interim title. So, considering everything that's happened, I think it's a pretty decent 2 nights of wrestling.
So, they've listened, they've got rid of the interim, they've gone straight away, they're going to crown a new champion. Is this better? Have they listened, Tim? Tim?
Huh?
Have AEW listened? They've gone into Grand Slam. They're not crowning an interim champion. They're gonna give us an actual AEW champion. Have they listened?
Yes, they did, because once they have a Grand Champion, like as they can see, a Grand Slam, the defendant, the other champions. Like when is the last time that Pac defended a champion, an Olympic champion, on thing besides right? So you got all the champions online tonight. You got the early champion with Cardio and Jericho. You know, you got tag team champion rematch of with Acclaimed and Swerve and Glory. You got the Jade versus Diamante for the TBS champion. So you got all the champions on the line tonight. So you got a showcase of like different talents. So, but you got the Battle Royal coming up on Rampage this week on Friday with the number 1 contenders for the World Heavyweight Champion. So you get showcasing all this new talent coming in too. It's like on Dark and stuff. So like Diamante, when's the last time Diamante was on a Dynamite show?
I have no idea.
It's been a while. It's like Evilise, maybe she was with Evilise, but she's always been on Dark. So they get to showcase like talent and stuff like from Dark and Elevation onto having titles matches. There's this thing. There's a lot of feuds going on with Pac and Cassidy going on, best friends. So it's like, but yeah. I don't know.
And I'm sure we saw Samoa Joe as well on was it a Rampage, Scott? Yeah, it was a Rampage, wasn't it? Yeah.
I actually watched this last night where he beat Josh Woods, who,
brilliant.
in my opinion, is a brilliant wrestler. Josh Woods.
Yeah, but he has a match. He had a match today on Friday with him and Wardlow versus Josh Woods and. Oh my God.
Yeah. Tag team match.
Would we say Tony Kahn is listening now? Because a lot of people have said Samoa Joe has joined AEW and he seems to be doing the same stuff as he did with WWE. Would you say that, Scott?
Well, I mean, as far as listening, you can have several different people about several different ideas. But the fact that he's gone away from the interim and really put it into an actual tournament, kind of actual undisputed world champion, I think is the perfect way to go forward.
Yeah, it is.
Whether that is John Moxley, whether that is Bryan Danielson, I think it's definitely the correct way to go. So, yeah, maybe he has listened in some ways. Maybe he has read the forums on social media and thought that we should have done that the first time round.
Would you say he's dealt with it? When we last spoke, we said he needs to deal with this. You said yourself he needs to deal with this in an effective way. He needs to go about this quick, not step back and let it go. Would you say he's handled it in the best way possible?
At the moment, yes. I mean, you're going to get people talking about it, which is natural because of what it is. But right now, I mean, tonight and Friday are two nights where AEW, it's a celebration of AEW wrestling. And then they've got the Arthur Ashe Stadium, which is basically the only event, the only sport was actually held there is the US Open tennis. And AEW are in there tonight and Friday with two blockbuster shows that focus on great wrestling. And that's where the focus should be. People shouldn't be talking about, Kenny Omega's suspended, CM Punk suspended. No. They need to be talking about Bryan Danielson and John Moxley going hell for leather for the AEW World Championship. That's where the focus should be. And tonight, hopefully, that's where it will be.
Definitely, Matt. I definitely agree with you, and I think the champion, I think the Grand Slam tournament, like you said earlier on, he's done it absolutely perfect. He's gave us a tournament. He's brought in, not the interim championship. He's brought in a tournament where, you saw Darby Allin, Sammy Guevara, Jericho, John Moxley, Daniel Bryan go at it in a tournament over the space of 2 weeks, and I think it's been brilliant. You saw some incredible matches. We saw Daniel Bryanson and Jericho last week, and I thought that was absolutely incredible. Darby Allin and Sammy Guevara, that was incredible. It was Jericho and Daniel Bryan last week, weren't it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It's been a good tournament, absolutely.
Brilliant tournament, absolutely brilliant, and I hope tonight. I was hoping for a finale that would have been Daniel Bryan and Jericho. What are your thoughts on that, Scott?
Well, that was a semi-final, so yeah, I mean, Jericho being in the title picture, definitely, you could definitely make a case for Jericho being there would make the match actually quite exciting. But I mean, you've got two stablemates, two of the hottest wrestlers on the roster right now. Two stablemates, and they've also had the match from Revolution. So it's basically a rematch from then. So I personally think that it is the correct final. I think Moxley has carried the division throughout CM Punk's original injury, when Punk broke his foot. So yeah, Moxley had to be there. Right now, with Danielson being that side of the bracket, it had to be Danielson versus Moxley, in my opinion. We had Moxley v Jericho a few weeks ago at Quake by the Lake. It had to be Danielson versus Moxley. I think it had to be. It's the correct. It's the best way to go.
We couldn't have had a better finale, to be honest. And it brings on the question, before I ask you both who deserves the championship more, I'm going to go for it and ask you this. To re-establish Ring of Honor, is having Jericho as the Ring of Honor champion going to make more... Would it elevate Ring of Honor more? I'll ask Tim first before I go with Scott.
I don't think so, because Ring of Honor has a lot of talent already, yeah? You got Cardio, that's like superior champion. They just got former, either that lost the champion to someone else, right? But they got a lot of talent that's like, they're bright. Because you got the, there's a lot of talent from everywhere, from AEW, bringing in ROH, Josh Woods, and all those people coming as free agent now. So I don't think needing another big star name, because like Joe's over there, Daniel's there, so there's a lot of people still there that from like AEW. So why do you need another champion or about the champion that's about to retire on ROH to boost the show?
Does Jericho need the Ring of Honor championship?
I don't think so.
No.
I think Cardio is a well-developed champion to hold the title. He's awesome in AEW. He's gonna be awesome. He's an awesome superstar from WWE to ROH to AEW. So I think he deserves to keep the title with him for a long run.
What about you, Scott? Is this gonna, if Jericho wins the Ring of Honor championship, even thinking of putting Jericho in the crosshairs with Claudio Castagnoli in Ring of Honor for the Ring of Honor championship, would it elevate Ring of Honor?
His name will most definitely elevate Ring of Honor. I mean, Chris Jericho is a legend. He's been around 30 years, near enough. He's won titles in a lot of great promotions. So yeah, of course, if you've got a name like Chris Jericho as your champion, then yeah, of course, it will definitely elevate it. But I 100% agree with Tim. Claudio has to win this. I think Claudio, this is his first proper reign as a world champion. And during that, if you can get a victory over someone like Chris Jericho, that will boost the reign that Claudio has. Chris Jericho doesn't need to win the Ring of Honor World Championship. So I think this match is designed to get Claudio more over as a world champion. And I think that's how it must stay.
And it's Jericho is the kind of guy to get some push out of Castagnoli. To be honest, I agree with what you said there. The best guy to help Castagnoli be a better, a more deserving champion amongst the fans is having Castagnoli get a big win over someone like Jericho. And I agree with both of you. I think Jericho doesn't need this championship, but to get Castagnoli pushed in some kind of way, he needs a big win on a big name, and Jericho would be that guy to help. Even if he doesn't hold the Ring of Honor championship, he's still elevating Ring of Honor, like what you said, Scott. Just by helping Castagnoli out by having a loss to Castagnoli. Big changes are coming to WWE. First off, black and gold. What do you think about this logo, Scott?
Well, I think a lot of fat wrestling fans will be very happy about the change. I mean, the last one looked like saying that Vince McMahon's grandkid drew. So to have the black and gold one back, I think will definitely... It's gone back to its roots. It's what made NXT brilliant. So now we have to give him a chance now to boost the new stars, because he hasn't got the likes of Keith Lee, Adam Cole, any of that anymore. Now it's about using this new vision to elevate guys like Tyler Bate, JD McDonough, Grayson Waller. It's now the chance now to boost those guys and make stars out of them. And the black and gold, I think, will help them a little bit more.
Are we going to see the arena change in some kind of way? Is it just the logo that's going back to its roots, or is it the whole damn thing that's going to change over the next coming months? Tim, first.
I think it's going to change because, arena, it's going to change because you got a lot of talent leaving too. Like Carmelo Hayes, right? It's going to get called up indie. So there's a lot of, I agree with Scott, but the arena's going to change in a different vibe because you got probably matches team up with NXT Europe coming in. So there's going to be a lot of talent coming back and forth between the vibes of NXT Europe coming in from and other people like Ilja Dragunov is coming back for injury, so it's definitely it's going to change the vibes of the arena and the show vibes with the preview because they're bringing back Howling Havoc in October, so they're bringing back shows that NXT did too, that Triple H is improving, especially with Shawn Michaels as talent relations right now, so it's improving shows with the different arenas too.
What about you, Scott?
I think it will over time. I mean, right now, all the arenas in WWE do have that sort of modern day look. Whereas if you look at the Raw and SmackDown stages, they look very similar. And with NXT looking like that, but in a smaller venue, I think it will change eventually. But I think at the moment, it's all looking the same because what happens to how Vince McMahon designed it? It's very modern. You haven't got any of the old, even though some of the old designs were quite good. Right now, it's basically everything's the same. It's NXT's it's very similar to how Raw and SmackDown is. So everything's just so modern day right now. So, but I think it probably will eventually change.
What I'll do is around 1:15, I'll hang up this chat and then I'll call Scott so I can add Ian in and then you can add Tim back in at 1:15.
Or you could hang up the chat and then just add Ian to it before ringing us back.
I don't know. People gonna.
Are you connected on Facebook with Ian?
Hey.
Are you Facebook friends with Ian?
No.
Right. Well, is there a way you can add Ian to the chat once you've logged off? Once you've cancelled this call, would you know how to add Ian to the Contenders Corner chat?
Thing is, I don't know if people are going to handle his thoughts or whatever. That's why I said if we did it on a...
If people don't handle his thoughts, then that's on them. At the end of the day, he's here to have his opinions, and whether we agree with them or not, we should respect them. At the end of the day, that's what this is all about, isn't it?
It is.
Well, exactly. If people don't agree,
we'll just. That's it. That's it, Scott. You're going. You know the score, man. You know the score. All right then. Well, back to it. Is this gonna help NXT become more established if they go back to black and gold? Was the paint job era? Did it take away a lot of what it built over the years? We'll go with Scott. We'll go with Scott first.
Well, the colour will change because it's what wrestling fans knew. But I think the paint, even though the 2.0 era, it had its haters, of course, but at the same time, it elevated guys who probably wouldn't have got that under Triple H's black and gold. I mean, because Triple H, you had Adam Cole being champion for over a year. I mean, that probably wouldn't have happened in the 2.0 era. It's helped bring attention to those who might not have got it. He boosted guys like Bron Breakker. He's boosted guys like Grayson Waller, Carmelo Hayes, and now Tony D'Angelo. So the new breed of NXT talent. So I think that even though it had its haters, I think 2.0 still needs to be respected because it has it's brought recognition to stars who might not have got it under the old look. And now Triple H is probably looking at them thinking, well, okay, I can make a star out of them on black and gold. He'd have his trusted guys like Tyler Bate, like JD McDonough. But now I think it should still at least be acknowledged in the fact that it's improved guys like Bron Breakker, Joe Gacy, another one. So it's still brought attention to wrestlers that might not have under the previous regime.
I agree with you to some kind of degree. Like with Mandy Rose for one instance, it's helped re-establish her, and I've enjoyed watching Toxic Attraction over the past few months. Same with Dolph Ziggler. It's helped re-establish Dolph Ziggler. We saw him getting some crazy action in NXT 2.0, and I do agree with you. It's helped re-establish certain wrestlers. I've enjoyed what they've done with Bron Breakker, and I just hope they don't backslide with this on the main roster. I hope it just carries on, but I hope it's not rushed as well. I don't want it to be rushed on the main roster. I don't want him to be, not as strong, but not rushed as well. Pushed too quickly. Just at a balance. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What about you, Tim?
What, the same question? What about the colors of the paints, or what? Has the splatter paint destroyed what black and gold built over the years? I don't think so, because before NXT 2.0, there's a good time like Gardino and so DIY and stuff. But then once NXT 2.0 came, there were bigger talents and Tony D'Angelo and so the guy from so other talents getting chance Katie and Katana, getting a better chance on 2.0 at the pay-per-view before they changed the colors back to NXT. Even though they're still gonna have the champions Katana and Kaden, but also I can see Wesley. Wesley had a phenomenal talent and Black Gold. I think he's gonna get called up soon, but it's he's gonna have a good run still in Black Gold before he gets called up. Same thing with Carmelo Hayes. He's gonna still have a good run before Halloween Havoc, if he gets caught up after Halloween Havoc or not. But just the talent coming in from other NXT Europe and stuff, it's Tyler Bates and Eddie Madonna and actually other talent just coming all over the world, just proving themselves to before they get called up to, for example, Sequoia, right? Sequoia was a big run, and still right. They tried to put the title on him, then for 7 days, and then relinquish the title because he got called up to NXT. Shawn Michaels relinquished him because he got the title from Carmel. He beat Carmel his, and he relinquished because he got called up. So it can happen to any champion. So if they get called up, it can happen to girls, anybody. There's always gonna be new champions all over the place on both either the purple one or black and gold. So we always see new talent coming in to go with those titles that got relinquished. Yeah.
I'm just calling him now. But, well, Scott, what are your thoughts of Soko having Shawn Michaels taking the championship off Soko?
I literally heard about this about an hour or so ago, and it's a very surprising decision. I mean, you have him defeat Carmelo Hayes, which probably was an excuse to get Carmelo up to the main roster. That's probably what it was. I mean, he's probably Solo is one of the most talked about wrestlers in WWE right now because of what happened in Cardiff, and now him win North American Championship, defending the championship on an episode of Monday Night Raw, and then being stripped of it. I'm confused by it. I don't know why they have done it, because I think Solo will be a great champion, especially now that he's a heel and part of the bloodline. It's just another part of elevating the bloodline story, and I think they should have kept him as champion. Personally, I don't understand it whatsoever.
Like what you just said, the confusing part. You know, you've made someone a champion, now you're taking it away. Is this something... No, AEW fans are going to say, well, all right, then you've done the same thing as what Tony Khan's done. You've made someone champion, then John Moxley carried the championship way forward when CM Punk was injured. CM Punk came back. He wanted the championship, but John Moxley was the interim champion. He made John Moxley squash CM Punk. He squashed him, became the champion. Then a week later, CM Punk beat him for the AEW championship to become the undisputed champion. And then a night later takes the championship off him. Is this similar to what they're done with AEW here? You know, you've made someone a champion just because he's come out and beat Carmelo Hayes. Now you're taking the championship off him.
Yeah, I still don't understand it. I mean, unless they're gonna lose, if this is actually gonna lose it to somebody, fair enough. The only way you should be losing that title is to elevate somebody else.
Would AEW marks have a point here?
Well, the thing with pro wrestling today is when something happens in WWE, people gotta compare it to AEW. When something happens in AEW, you gotta compare it to WWE. And fans from one side criticising what's happening in the other, and vice versa. I mean, why are they trying to make a war out of the fans of these two companies? I just don't bloody get it. It's just ridiculous. I mean, just watch both products. They're both got their own ideas. Why was the AEW say, oh, Tony Kahn would never do that? Or if it happens there, oh, Triple H would never do that. I mean, who cares? Just let them do their own thing.
It just brings on the question, doesn't it? Like I've asked you so many times over the past couple of weeks, Tim, are we going to get an AEW WWE invasion? Are fans caught? Is this why fans are hating on AEW, hating on WWE? Do they want that invasion to happen?
I don't think it's not hating. It's not hating at all. Who's hating on who? You guys only hating is Malakai Black situation because Malakai Black wanted to get released, supposed to go back to WWE, like where he started his career. Because I think AEW is not giving him a chance, you know? Like, he's with his faction, but like, they're not pushing him that much in AEW, where WWE and NXT push him a lot for a chance to go with his wife, where his wife is right now. He can stay with his wife in WWE. But I think, like, AEW brought all talent from WWE, but it's like, they're not giving them spotlights, you know? There are a lot of people and like dark and television that's not getting the spotlight from WWE, so if they want to go back to WWE, it's their choice. It's not like Tony Kahn says, like, I don't want you in my company, go wherever you came from, go back to Impact, go back to WWE, go back to MLW, whatever. You know, it's their choice if they want to leave. Malakai was his choice to leave AEW to go back to WWE. Same thing with other people, Cody Rhodes and other people. So it's like, Tony Khan's like saying, like, hey, the red slip, there's the door, you know? I'm leaving the red slip, you can leave, you know? You don't have to be in this company that I run. So their choice, they want to stay. So I don't think there's a feud going on. I think it's the people, like, it's their choice if they want to stay or not. The wrestlers.
I think that's a difficult one to ask, really. You know, he's going through a tough period. Keith Lee went through a tough period. Tony Kahn gave him a break. Same with John Moxley, gave him a break. Same with Jeff Hardy. He's gave him the time without pay to deal with his shit, and then come back. In Malakai Black's situation, you said AEW weren't giving him the spotlight that he deserved, but WWE did. When did WWE give him the spotlight? There has been times where Malakai Black in WWE, would you say, Scott, wasn't pushed? He wanted to bring the House of Black in WWE, but the backslided.
Hello? Whoa. Hello?
Hello?
Hello, Jason?
Yeah, it's me. Yeah, we're here, mate. I'm just asking Scott a question. Hold on, mate.
Right, sorry, hang on. Let me turn off the camera. It's completely up to you, mate, to be honest. I'll keep it on. Okay.
Yeah, you can decline the camera, mate. Don't worry. We do it on call. Yeah.
Okay, hang on. Yeah. Personally, I think Malakai Black in WWE was brilliant in NXT.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where it really was given the spotlight. That's really was allowed to shine and be.
But the question is what Tim's saying is we're going through main roster here. Was Malakai Black? He's comparing Malakai Black in AEW to WWE. Scott, the question is, has Malakai Black's run in AEW been better in the main roster than it was in WWE?
I would say slightly, yes, but not by a big amount. I mean, he's leader of his own faction, and he has some great wins over the likes of Cody Rhodes twice.
Exactly, yeah. Exactly. He's had some big matches.
And Triangle on pay-per-view, the Victory of Death Triangle at Double or Nothing, which I was a little bit surprised at. But
I think, to be honest, in all honesty, to what we said, I think it should have either been him that won his faction that won the Trios Championship, or it should have been the Dark Order, as we predicted. Do you agree on that, Scott?
well, I think House of Black should have been one of the top names.
Yeah.
But I mean, to give it to Omega and the Young Bucks, I think it's a little bit of a safe move.
Yeah.
I think they played it a bit too safe there by giving it to people who are executive vice presidents of the company. I think if they wanted to go bold, they could have gone either the House of Black, the Dark Order, or maybe even Best Friends and Orange Cassidy. There's another team that I think could have also...
I would have given it to the Best Friends.
Say that again, Ian.
I would have given it to the Best Friends because we all know originally that there was a plan in place for the Elite to take on the UE, but now with Cole and O'Reilly injured and Bobby Fish is gone from AEW, they had to really put it on the Elite, and now that the belt is on Death Triangle, whenever they decide to bring the Elite back, they'll have a cracker of a match because we know what Omega and Pac can do, and we know how much great chemistry the Bucks and the Lucha Bros have. Yeah,
definitely. I agree with you. What about you, Scott?
So there had to be that plan when the original plan failed, because I'd say we would have got Don Callis to betray Omega and join the UE, but then if it's some but for Candy, if my granny had balls, she'd be my granddad.
Well, yeah, pretty much.
Oh, fucking hell.
Swearing, Jason.
Sorry for that, guys. So the question for Ian is: has Malakai Black been wasted in AEW?
I don't know, to be honest. Like, I suppose
I agree with that.
But like, he started off well. I think he definitely had in the 3 years since AEW started. He had one of the best debuts. If you were to look at top 10 debuts, his debut would definitely be in there.
Exactly.
He had a good start. He had a good start at first with the Cody feud and getting the win over the whole Rhodes family, and then it kind of went asunder when they let Cody win the actual feud. And then, like, the House of Black came in. I don't think he was just given that fair chance because his back started to give out and he was starting to feel the pressure of depression. Now, as far as him going back, if he can go back to WWE, like, his original run on the main roster was good, was starting off good because he had the support of Paul Heyman, who was in charge of creative back in 2019. And Aleister Black was one of many people Heyman wanted to push. He had a list of people he wanted to push at his time, and of course, one of those people that got that success was, of course, Drew McIntyre. And then when Heyman was removed from creative to work with Roman, it all changed, and then Vince just really didn't know what to do with him.
And that's when he had a new creative idea. He was going to bring the House of Black in WWE.
That sort of like Babadook character in,
and then a week
let go in June.
And then a week later, he was gone. It's like, what are you doing?
He was and the interesting thing was that he was lucky because he only got a 30-day clause where everyone else gets 60.
Exactly, yeah.
He was very lucky. If he comes back, like, he would do better under the Triple H regime, under Triple H and Stephanie. Triple H knew what to do with him. He saw potential in him.
What was you going to say there, Scott?
The thing is, in WWE, Aleister Black did actually go a whole year without losing on WWE television. I think somebody higher up in the creative echelon must have completely missed that statistic and just did not build on it.
They didn't really go. Sorry.
It just did not build on the fact that Black was not losing on WWE television for over a year, and no one even picked up on it.
He wasn't losing on NXT for over a year until Tommaso Ciampa beat him.
What are your thoughts on the whole situation, Tim?
I disagree with some of this stuff because I don't think Black was the best debut.
Hold on a sec. What parts don't you agree with?
No, like that Black was the best debut in AEW. Yeah. I never said he was the best. I said he'd be top 10. Yeah, but I think he made it maybe not even top 10 because I think maybe on 11 there's 10 greatest that showed up and like put all the heart into the games. Before.
No, I only said top 10. Like I never said he would be number 1. Like if he was to be in, he'd be ranked in the bottom 10. Like
I
for
understand,
top 5.
I don't think he should be top 10 at all. There's 10 greatest talents that debuted at AEW that like should be on the list before Black.
No, I think like if I was to view the top 10 debuts, top 5 would probably be Punk, Jericho, Mox, Danielson, and Cole. And
but they started with the company. Mox started with the company. Jericho started with the company, so that's not a debut.
Hold a second.
Let's not argue, guys.
I'm not arguing about it.
No. You're allowed to. You have your opinion. Ian's allowed to have his opinion, and Scott's allowed. Scott's welcome to his. Carry on, Tim.
I'm just saying I disagree with like.
Yeah. You can disagree.
He should be on the top 10 list.
I welcome your thoughts, mate. Everyone doesn't have to agree with everybody. But carry on, Tim. Carry on.
No, I'm just saying like that, you know. But he's like, I don't know. So like, yeah, I don't know what I'm saying now because you threw me off now. Okay.
So Ian, a question for Ian. Where does Malakai Black stand now? Is he still in AEW, or is he just having time away with his mental health and his family?
I think he needs sort his his health life out and then decide what he wants to do next. Like if he decides to go back to AEW, that's his own choice. If he goes to WWE, he'll hopefully get a better run because Trips will know what to do with him, and hopefully maybe put him with Zelina.
I agree with that one.
Trips will definitely know what to do because Trips knew what to do. Saw what he could do in NXT.
I loved his run in NXT. I think we can all agree that his run in NXT was a lot stronger than it was in the main roster.
If he goes back on the main roster, he can have a better run because Trips is now in charge of creative.
So what with you, Scott? If he does go back to WWE, should he go? Does he have to go to NXT? Would it be better for him to go to NXT and then no?
He did it. He had a successful run in NXT. He was going to be a top star on the main roster during if Heyman had been still given creative control of the company, and say if Triple H had been given the control sooner rather than later, he would have had success. But we all know what happened. But now that Triple H is in charge, he could be a top star when the time is right.
What about you, Scott?
Well, right now, I'm still unsure what he will do, because even though he was released, it's a conditional release. So I think it's like basically a gardening leave, maybe sort of absence. So if he decides to terminate his contract with WWE, then that's completely fine. I still expect him to return to AEW in maybe a few months. So my personal opinion, I still think he will be in All Elite Wrestling.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit. He'd take some time away and come back. I still think he's under some sort of contract, but it's a conditional release. So it's only like he's got a set type, right?
But with all the time he's spending now with Zelina, now that he's gotten the free time to spend with Zelina, or do we call her Trinity or Trinidad in real life?
I always thought it was
Trinidad, like, would he not seek the option to try and get back in the company to be with his wife?
He might. He very well could decide to do
Triple
that.
H could take away the Queen Zelina stuff and make her a more darker character. I could picture Zelina in all the black and the black makeup.
Oh yeah, I think it would work in WWE. 100%, especially with Triple H, right? Because Triple H, I feel, has more of an understanding of what fans want than what Vince did. So Triple H, it's different with Vince, like, because Vince only knew how to make people who were bodybuilders. Exactly, like Roman Reigns, for example.
Roman Reigns and Brock and Braun, and now with and at the time during the the only year of NXT with 2.0 being Braun Breaker.
What about you, Tim? Where do you want to see Malakai Black? Let him have his chat, guys. Where do you want to see Malakai Black?
I think it's the same with WWE. We had agreed on 6 years to work. Like, I think most of WWE is gonna have most of the couples stay with each other. Like, if you had the only one that's gonna split is Charlotte and Andrade because they're on different men's, but they always stay together. But I think Malakai Black to stay with Vega on WWE right now. What other couples are.
But here's the thing here's another thing about Malakai Black. If he was to go back to WWE, do you see him joining Judgment Day? Because they have this sort of dark. They are dark and gothic, and they look like something. They look like coming out of a BDSM club, and Damian Priest is dressed up like he's trying to audition for the new Hellraiser movie.
That would be a good shout, actually. But moving on from Malakai Black, and we've discussed Malakai Black for quite a while now. Who is the one to beat Roman? Would you say? We'll start with Tim.
Who's gonna be Roman?
Who would you want to beat Roman?
If Drew can be Roman, I don't know. Could be a surprise talent because there's a lot of good talent in Raw and SmackDown that could be coming from NXT that could beat Roman. So I don't know. We'll see at Survivor Series or Extreme Rules if they have a match for Roman. So maybe the title change. I think Braun Strowman will be the perfect contender for Roman if he had to show someone. He should get the title from Roman. Won the title back.
Here's a question for Tim and Scott. We'll go with Scott first. Let him have his opinion. I said this to Ricky in his chat a couple of days ago. I think Ian's seen my comment. I think you made a comment on that comment. I said to him, basically,
I wouldn't know.
Right. So basically, Scott, Logan Paul being brought in to face Roman Reigns. Logan Paul is a YouTuber. Roman Reigns is a star. He's worked and grinded his way to the top. He's worked his way to get into the main event. Having someone like Logan Paul going up against Roman Reigns, does this push back many people who have worked their heart out to get where they need to be, and then some guy like Logan Paul comes in, only has 2 matches, and gets a main event shot at Roman Reigns? What is your thought on that, Scott?
Well, my first question would be, are you next? If they're giving out matches to YouTubers, you've got every hope, mate. But, in my opinion, it's a ridiculous booking decision. I get why they have done it, because Logan is the mainstream star that attracts fresher audiences to the product. So people who watches his YouTube channel that doesn't necessarily watch WWE, they might get interested in WWE by watching Logan Paul face Roman Reigns. So I completely understand the reason why they've done that.
I agree with that. I agree with that statement. But
however, and it's a massive however. Why him when you've got loads of great talent on there? Finn Balor, Damian Priest. I can stand here all day and name wrestlers equipped for this shot.
I'll be waiting for it. I got a whole day waiting for that too. If you want.
Well, I can literally name the entire freaking roster.
Same here. Same here.
We'll take that for another day when you wake up early in the morning. I'll do it.
Even Saw deserves that shot more than Logan Paul.
Right, Ian. Go for it. What's your opinion on it?
Despite loving the man and being a fellow Irishman, I don't think we'll be seeing Reigns and Balor again with 2 factions both being heels, or even Damian Priest for that matter. The thing is about this match, it is all about the money that comes from the Saudi Arabia prince or whoever to pay for these people.
And they want to see a worldwide star take on the biggest name in wrestling at the moment. The only other people that I could see challenging Reigns at the moment would have been Braun Strowman or Bobby Lashley, but we know they're not going to get the job done. And neither is Logan Paul either way. And although Logan Paul had two great matches at both WrestleMania and SummerSlam, and some even praised him, thought he was better than most of the roster at the match he had with The Miz at SummerSlam. But it's not the first time they've ever done such a thing like this. Do you remember when Ronda Rousey debuted in 2018? He only had one match at WrestleMania with the tag match with Kurt against Triple H and Stephanie. And then a few months later, he was pushed into a title match with Nia Jax, which he didn't win. And then she was gone for a couple of months to go to the UFC Hall of Fame, and she got another shot. So they see the money in these people like Rousey and Logan Paul, and they want to shoot them to the top to attract more followers of them on social media or from other sports or from other areas of the entertainment world.
But the however is, does it push all the people who have worked their heart out for 20 years to get there?
No, not really, because there's still time for them to get shot, and Reigns has basically run through most of the roster at the moment. You're not going to see guys like Johnny Gargano face Reigns yet, because he's going to be involved in a program with Theory. You're not going to see Kevin Owens get some shot with him at somewhere down the line, because he may be put in with a tag team with Sammy to take on the Usos at some point. You're not going to see Strowman at the moment get a shot, or even Karrion Kross yet, because he's got, or even when he gets back Bray Wyatt. So there's still time for them after this, because we have Crown Jewel coming up on the 4th of November, and then we have Survivor Series, and then then after that we move into the new year before Mania.
Some interesting thoughts there, guys, and NXT does look hot. Massive changes have come in, and the question, like you said, Survivor Series is coming, and big changes have come. The announcement of War Games. We'll start off with Tim. What are your thoughts on that big announcement of War Games coming to us at Survivor Series?
I think it's going to be a good War Games, because you got Triple H, a men's one and a woman's one. I think it should be like a Survivor Series almost, because there's a lot of talent from Raw that went down to NXT, Nikki and Doudrop for the title. I think they should get involved too. Those talent that went to WWE, from main roster down to NXT. I think they should get those talent involved in the War Games too, like Ricochet and Doudrop and Nikki Ash and other people. Those are Rude. And I think even though they're up on the talent, I think they should get talent that had matches in NXT get involved with the War Games too, either in the women's or the men's match. They don't have enough people to fill in the things.
What about you two, Scott and Ian? Here's a question for both of you. How would you book War Games? Would you have Raw versus SmackDown? Would you have Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT 2.0? Give us your thoughts. We'll start with Scott.
Well, there's two ways you can do it. Obviously, Raw and SmackDown is the route that WWE have taken for the last, I think, 6 years or so, since 2016.
2017.
No, it's definitely 2016, because Brock Lesnar...
The first War Games match was on NXT in 2017.
No, I'm talking about Survivor Series.
Oh, sorry, the invitation. The Interbrand match. Sorry.
Yeah, Survivor Series has been Raw and SmackDown based since 2016.
Yeah, that's correct.
But it's also a great opportunity to sort of have factions versus factions. I mean, you could have basically the Bloodline taking on a team of Drew McIntyre, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and somebody else. There's ways that you can actually use these to do the same brand, or you could have the likes of Judgment Day versus Edge, Rey Mysterio, Matt Riddle, and somebody else. I think there's two ways you can go about it. I mean, Raw versus SmackDown is the obvious choice, but I think the War Games match is better suited to a faction versus faction duel that we have seen since 2017 NXT. Like we had the Undisputed Era versus Tommaso Ciampa's team versus Pat McAfee's team. I think the actual stipulation might fit better with a feud rather than a thrown together Raw versus SmackDown scenario.
Yeah. So you're saying you'd rather have a faction versus faction, or a group of 4 going up against the bloodline, similar to that basically, then rather than having a group of wrestlers slammed from Raw facing off with a group of wrestlers slammed from SmackDown. Interesting. What about you, Ian?
I'm happy that War Games is coming to Survivor Series as the change. Now, I did like the interpromotional matches they were doing when they started off. But they were, after a while, it dried up and they were really doing nothing, because you could have used the interpromotional matches to push more people. Like, when the early part came, they were doing it for some people. Like, they did it for Bray Wyatt, and they did it for Braun Strowman, and it benefited the women. It actually benefited the women more at the time, because they used it to push the likes of Bayley and Asuka when they came up from the main roster. They used it to push Lana at one point, but that didn't go down. That didn't work. They used it to push some of the women from NXT. Like, at one point they could have used that. They nearly used that interpromotional matches with NXT to push Keith Lee, and that didn't go the way they wanted it. With War Game, it's more suited for storyline than it is for just faction and just random Raw and SmackDown guys. Like, because we're obviously going to have the Bloodline versus 5 other people, because you have 5 now with Sammy, and with the women you'll have Damage Control and 2 other people versus 5 other women. The other thing is, though, if I wanted to see a group War Games match, it would be, the actual team would be the Bloodline versus Imperium, which, if they could get a 4th member, if they don't get Alexander Wolf back. That would be a dream.
Interesting.
But the other thing is, though, like, if you're going into these War Games matches, there's a chance now you're not going to get blood in it, because Triple H has had a policy against blood. Now, one of my favourite matches from this past year has been the second Blood and Guts match that happened this year. That was better. That was a sequel better than the first one. So, like, War Games would have a lot of work to do to top that.
Yeah, defo. I think they're gonna. There's a big task at hand if they want to beat this year's Blood and Guts War Game.
There was a lot of like, the War Games matches would still be good, like, and you they never had people gave out about certain things they did after AEW's first Blood and Guts match when Jericho got thrown off onto boxes. So you need, like, they'll still be fun either way, but I'd say have a little bit of blood, but have maybe a little blood, but not too much, because I know Triple H has now got a policy against blood. Yeah, but I still think they're gonna have some work to do if they want to. Like you said, for one team, you're going to have the Bloodline taking on somebody like McIntyre, KO, Strowman, and maybe the Street Profits. And then for the women, you'll have Damage Control, maybe Ronda and Shayna taking on, be Damage Control, maybe Ronda and Shayna taking on somebody like Bianca, Liv, Asuka, Alexa, and one more. I can't really decide who they get for it.
Charlotte? That'd be interesting.
Well, it depends really which way you put Charlotte in there. Do you put her face or do you put her heel? I'd say you put Charlotte back at the heel, because she's better at being a heel than she is a face.
Yeah, she is definitely a better heel, 100%.
100%, yeah.
Interesting. But then do you take Ronda and Shayna out, and do you put Charlotte in with Damage Control, and you see egos collide with Charlotte and Bayley?
Ooh.
But then again, you don't have, say if Liv retains in Extreme Rules, you don't have both champion and Bayley beats Bianca. You don't want to put both champions in the War Games match. Let at least one champion defend the title. How about, let's take Ronda and Shayna out of the equation. Let's take them out and replace it with Damage Control, Charlotte and Rhea against, say, Bianca, Asuka, Alexa, and Sasha and Naomi when they return.
Ooh, that's a good shout. That's a great shout.
Definitely.
So those four, all Damage Control and Rhea, and then you have to decide between Charlotte, Ronda, and Shayna.
Interesting. Oh, so we jump back to AEW now. With these big changes from AEW, what do AEW need to keep on track here? We'll start with Scott.
I think he needs to focus on the in-ring side of things. I think recently the conversation's been too much on what's happening behind the scenes with people's opinions and the suspension and stuff. It was actually the in-ring activity what made AEW as great as it was for that period. Now that they're sort of focusing away from that, it's sort of the talk and the praise for it has dropped. They need to get that back. Once they start exciting people in the ring again, then it will improve over time.
I think with AEW, they've started, there seems to be a bit of fresh life in them since now the Punk and the Elite are gone for now.
Yeah.
The problem is, they've put themselves, they were in a situation where they were overstuffed with talent, and now a lot of people are gone. A lot of people, that started in the beginning, your Joey Janela's, your Marco Stunt, your Scott Grayson, your Alan Angels, they're all gone, and a few others are gone. There's a lot of people who can't even get on the show and are relegated to Dark, and they're relegated to, what's the other one called? Not Rampage, the other on YouTube one.
Elevation.
I don't get time to watch Dark or Elevation. I only get time to watch Dynamite and Rampage. So you need to try and get some other people who don't get a chance to get back on Dynamite, because there is some people frustrated. I saw a Twitter post from Abaddon, and she's getting frustrated that she's not on TV.
Should AEW have just... Should AEW...
At the moment, the whole focus with Dynamite is either now the Blackpool Combat Club, the JAS, MJF, and Britt Baker and Tony Storm. There's a lot of people who are not being featured on it or being used in any way.
Should AEW have just focused on Dynamite rather than bringing in AEW if it's pre-recorded? Should Rampage be a 2-hour show? Should Dynamite be a 3-hour show and not have Rampage?
Look, the thing about Rampage being a 2, I'm not going to watch Rampage tonight because I'd be watching SmackDown, and then 2 hours that won't be over till 5 a.m. and I have to be up early on a Saturday to do some work. So I wouldn't be watching. I'd be watching SmackDown, but not Rampage. Rampage is just on after SmackDown, and compared to SmackDown is blown out of the water. Rampage opens up with a great match, and then other matches after that don't follow. They actually changed that recently because they had the main event that really got me watching. That really did on Rampage was the recent Claudio versus Jack Harwood for the Ring of Honor title. That was a great main event. But after SmackDown, after Rampage, I'm nearly falling asleep. And for a 2 hour show, no, I can't do it because I'll be literally falling asleep after SmackDown. So, 2 hours Rampage, no. I think, I say after this Grand Slam, which is going to be brilliant, if people are going to be staying for watching 2 hours of Rampage, I could see people walking out eventually because they're going to be wrecked.
What about you, Tim? Should AEW Rampage be a 2-hour show? Should it not be pre-recorded? Should it be live?
Yeah, but is it some of the shows in Rampage are going to be live because they're going back to Jacksonville soon? So I think it is good to be recorded sometimes, but I think the bad part is spoilers. When there's a recorded spoilers out and stuff. So here particularly you can't do Rampage at the card or other stuff because there's always going to be spoilers out for the Rampage when it's recorded.
They should record Rampage on a different day. They could have recorded this Grand Slam Rampage for Tuesday, and they wouldn't have to compete against the new NXT. They could have recorded this Rampage on Tuesday, and then people wouldn't have to sit through another 2 hours in the same building, and then they'd be heading off to beat the traffic.
Or they could do it on Thursday, because, like, what's on Thursday? Nothing. After Dynamite.
Well,
just do it on Thursday.
Well, Thursdays is always Impact. But then again, how many people watch Impact?
Because a lot of people don't have Impact. Like you said, the UK does not have Impact, so, like, you still want Rampage, you can't want Impact, but...
Right. Rampage would probably benefit on a Thursday, maybe, because you wouldn't have to turn it on after watching SmackDown.
What are your thoughts on it, Scott?
Well, it is going to be a long night, especially for those that are in the arena. It's definitely going to be long night. And a big challenge that wrestling companies face is keeping fans engaged for a long time. If you're constantly doing banger after banger after banger, fans will tire. And I think that's why pacing for a wrestling show is very, very important. Maybe, I think they could have given Rampage its own little thing, but because it's in the same venue, can they get the venue for 2 nights? So that's another thing that wrestling companies have to consider. Can you get a certain venue? It depends how long you can get it for. That
would have been better for them to get to do the recording, to do the Rampage the day after, because like they're kind of putting themselves in the situation WWE did after WrestleMania 35, when people just ran out after Becky won the main event, because they've been watching a 5.5-hour show.
Yeah, exactly. I think if they could have got it for 2 nights, then I think that would have been the best way to do it. But it depends. In the day, the venue is it's a tennis stadium, so it all depends how long they actually have the venue for. If they only have one night and they've got no choice to do everything in one night.
Or is it just the case of changing the venue?
Yeah, possibly for a smaller building like close by. Maybe it's a smaller arena in New York. I mean, not exactly Madison Square Garden, but still, it still worked. Maybe that's something they could have considered.
Also, the question is, we'll start with Tim first. Everything AEW are being whinged at and moaned about, WWE did once upon a time. Do you agree with that statement, or do you disagree with it?
Can you rephrase the question? Or not?
Everything AEW are being whinged about, moaned about, on social media with these rumours WWE did once upon a time. Do you agree with that statement, or do you disagree with it?
I agree with AEW, because sometimes they say rumors and it's true. So the rumors can be true that but WWE has a story about Bray Wyatt rumor, but when is he gonna show up? About the if you watch Raw about the White Rabbit and the characters about Bray Wyatt, there's rumors on to right beginning this year with Bray Wyatt. Is it gonna happen? Who knows when it's gonna happen? So W sticks with the rumors this person debuting, or this person coming up, but they stick with the rumors. So I agree with AEW, but WWE is it's more storyline rumors.
What about you, Scott? Everything AEW have been whinged about, moaned about, have WWE done that once upon a time? And do you agree with that statement or disagree with it?
It's very rarely these days in professional wrestling you'll find something that hasn't been done somewhere before. So I think many wrestling companies do recycle old ideas, but then just add their own sort of flavour to it. So yeah, it would WWE. I mean, they were probably the Attitude Era was a lot about great characters, and there is only a couple of elements of that in AEW with certain characters who like to go dark, like the House of Black, like Abaddon, etc. So, the main concerns about AEW right now are the fact they're pushing the same old stars. And yes, WWE have had a habit of doing that many, many times during their existence. So I suppose, in a way, WWE have done a lot of the stuff that AEW are being criticised for. But too many people criticise these days. They're always picking up on it. It's too much comparing going on between the two products.
Do AEW need to get out of this bracket of being picked up on being similar to WWE? Do they need to, like you said, do they need to get out of this habit of pushing the same stars and re-establishing themselves and pushing newer stars? We'll start off with Tim. Ian.
I thought it was Tim you're starting off with.
No, start off with Ian.
Okay, well, I think there will come a time when they will push new stars. Triple H has only been in the office for about a month, and he has been getting back people he wants to push. I know we're still in the Reigns era, but I'd say after next year we will start seeing more people getting pushed, because after WrestleMania, because this WrestleMania will more be about a farewell for Vince McMahon if he's getting his spot in the Hall of Fame. We will see more new people getting pushed when they decide to end the Roman Reigns era. With AEW now, they are now trying to start to rebuild themselves. Whoever wins the championship match come tonight will be someone that can carry the company into bigger height. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, your line broke. I thought your line broke off there.
No, you don't worry.
There is still time for them to start re-pushing new guys. I mean, we're probably not going to see Brock Lesnar have many shots now anymore. Now that Triple H is in charge, he'll still be used to some point, but not for the championship scene.
Tim, what are your thoughts on that?
I agree. They use the talent a lot. I remember what Swerve said. Swerve said, he'd been with WWE, but, he's been, AEW's a family to him. He wrote on his own post, I think on Facebook post that Swerve said, been with WWE, but, I think he's growing a lot. All the people came from WWE, I think they're, growing a lot more with AEW. That's why, all the people don't want to go back to Swerve and them. Because I think AEW is a family. They get more opportunities with title opportunities and stuff. So,
but just remember also, I'll just point out one other thing. Just remember that at the end of the day, both companies can't push everybody.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the question.
They can't push everybody, and there's always going to be casualties.
What about you, Scott? Do AEW need to get out of this bracket of being too similar to WWE?
Well, I think the only people that are really comparing with WWE are the fans. I think fans maybe are too quick to sort of make the sort of comparisons these days. If you see, say, in WWE, people will say, oh, AEW did that, and vice versa. I think AEW need to sort of work on what they're doing. They have their plans, and they have to carry on implementing them, regardless of what other people think. I mean, if people are just going to compare it to WWE, then people seem to get a life, I think.
The problem, sometimes the problem with wrestling fans is they're never happy because they're spoiled rotten.
Absolutely.
Final question.
It's hard to please wrestling fans. Back then, during the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression Era, we didn't have social media to air frustrations with wrestling.
I've always said you will never, ever find a perfect wrestling company. Never.
No, there's always going to be, everyone thought TNA would be the alternative to WWE, and that didn't go out the way it was. And now, ever since the whole instance with CM Punk and the Elite, everyone has already started to turn on AEW.
Final questions. With everything that's gone on, like what you said, some of the fans have turned away from AEW with what's gone on with CM Punk and the Elite and Kenny Omega. We'll go with it, Scott. with everything that's gone on over the past few weeks with CM Punk, Kenny Omega, and the Elite, who is the deserving champion you would put the title on, and why?
Well, to be honest, there's only two people to choose from right now. Obviously, there is the threat of MJF lingering, but in my opinion, the world champion at the end of tonight has to be the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson. I think Moxley has had those great runs where he was champion throughout the first installment of the COVID era, where he carried AEW for long periods as the champion. And then again, when CM Punk was injured. But right now, Bryan Danielson, he is a great person to put on because he will probably be more open to pushing younger stars like he has done with Daniel Garcia than Moxley probably would. And I think Moxley has had these chances. I think now is the time to put the belt on Bryan Danielson because, one, I do think he is the better in-ring wrestler. He's by some distance. And I think the matches he could put on for the World Championship, I think, will definitely benefit AEW, especially with some of his experience, his in-ring ability. Will put on great matches, put some heat behind the AEW World Championship. So, in my opinion, Bryan Danielson should become the World Champion tonight.
Tim, who should be the champion after tonight?
I think if it's on Bryan Danielson, I think it should be the one of the ladder match on Rampage. I think all those people, I think Lance Archer should be champion. We haven't seen. Wasn't the last time Lance Archer had a title champion was Impact TNT, but I think he deserves to be the next heavyweight champion after being able to win it.
What about you, Ian? Who deserves to be John Moxley or Daniel? Go on.
Sorry, just hang on, I'm just having a little difficulty with my camera there. I would be also in favour for Danielson because one, John Moxley needs that vacation for carrying the AEW from pandemic and from CM Punk. Second of all, with two positives here I have this. Second of all, with Danielson is that Daniel finds himself in the same situation he did with Ring of Honor and WWE. When Punk left Ring of Honor to go to WWE, Danielson was champion. When CM Punk walked out of WWE because he didn't get his way for main event WrestleMania 30, they put Daniel Bryan in the championship situation. Those are two positives there. Actually three, because Bryan is someone that could get AEW back on the map because he is a well-known big star. But the problem with Bryan is at the moment he's had head injuries in the last while. He had the head injury going before Blood and Guts and he missed out of that. He got the head injury in that match with Daniel Garcia. So that's the fear you have. If he gets the head injury, do they end up in a situation where they have to find another champion? But who do you put on that situation there? Because you won't get Hangman Adam Page getting another title shot because ratings went down when he was champion. But then do you put the belt on Chris Jericho or do you look at making someone else the star, like MJF?
I agree. Tough. It's tough to decide.
I've been seeing the memes going round. CM Punk left Ring of Honor, Bryan Danielson become world champion. CM Punk left WWE, Bryan Danielson become world champion. CM Punk potentially leaving AEW, and who's in the world title match tonight? Bryan Danielson.
That is perfect.
The thing is about if he gets another head injury, they have to do something else with the championship again, and have to find another champion.
So,
and then if that happens, you have to look at the option of putting the gold on Chris Jericho because besides MJF, AEW has not taken the opportunity to make other stars that could help carry the company. One person that could have done it and they didn't pull the trigger on him, and I won't understand why they didn't pull the trigger on him. One star that could have carried the title scene is Eddie Kingston.
That's a good shout.
And his stock fell when he lost the feud to Chris Jericho and that backstage incident with Sammy.
Would you say we'll go with Tim first. Did they rush the championship being put onto CM Punk?
I think so, kind of. The rest of him, because, like, yeah, he just, like, as he came in the company, like, I understand he had a few, like, other people, but, like, I don't think he deserved, like, the title to begin with, because after, like, we did all and stuff, like, he deserved the title after what happened, but, like, he should get the title, like, a neutral person, like, Moxley or with the person before, like, whoever was champion after Cody and stuff. But, so, like, Matt already claimed the next one after Paige. So Moxley should have been, like, beat, like, Paige or something to get the title in the beginning.
What about you, Ian? Did they rush with this stuff with CM Punk? Did they?
Yeah.
Did they make the mistake with CM Punk? Go for it.
They rushed him back after the foot injury, but that fault really lies on Tony Khan, because Tony Khan shot himself when Triple H took over WWE. And when Triple H started bringing back Karrion Kross, Dexter Lumis, Bayley, formed Damage Control, and Hit Row, he started, and the ratings went up. Tony Khan started to shit himself, and he brought CM Punk back. CM Punk wasn't fully clear, and now look at the damage that has been done from his 2 runs. He's ended up with a foot injury and now a shoulder injury. And now the Elite is also gone as well. He brought Kenny Omega back too soon as well.
What are your thoughts on
that mistake? Lies on Tony Khan, so he has to fix.
Yeah, carry on, Ian. Go on.
So basically, now he has to fix that. He has to fix that. Yeah. He has to fix that now. So he should. One thing that Tony Khan hasn't done is he hasn't made two. He hasn't. Hang on. Sorry, just looking at something here. Sorry. He hasn't been making, and he needs to start finding other. He should have taken the opportunity to take on other stars that could carry the company after CM Punk, and one of those people he could have carried was Eddie Kingston.
What about you, Scott? Did they rush CM Punk?
In a weird sort of way, I'll probably say no, because he did what he did in the beginning. He said he was going to come in and work with the young talents. He had a great match with Darby Allin, Daniel Garcia, Powerhouse Hobbs. I mean, all of their careers, both their careers are actually elevated since that match with him. MJF, that feud. I mean, MJF beat him in Chicago. I mean, that's one of the best compliments you could pay someone like MJF. But the thing is, with Punk constantly picking up victories in the other matches against the likes of Bobby Fish, Dustin Rhodes, Penta Oscuro, the conversation was always going to be there. If you've got a star, and a top star like CM Punk is, constantly winning matches, there's always going to be the conversation of him being in the world title picture. And he did. Personally, I would have had Hangman win that match, because it actually would have elevated Hangman's title run more than he has been, because his run was criticised. If he had beat someone like CM Punk in the main event of the pay-per-view, that would have been huge for him. But Punk's injury was unfortunate. Punk was going to have a good run as world champion, probably eventually dropping it to MJF further down the line. I think that was the original plan. But unfortunately in life, things happen. And yeah, so I think Punk was always going to be in the world title picture sooner rather than later. So I'm going to say no, it wasn't too soon.
Can I just go back and say that I did enjoy Punk's early runs. I enjoyed the matches that he had with Darby and Eddie. I loved his feud with MJF. Yeah. It was one of my feuds of the year. But the only reason as well that you could have to look at it this way, that Punk's win over Hangman was also a rating issue, because Hangman wasn't getting the ratings in when he was champion. Well, and which is a sad state of affairs, because there's always going to be that issue of who is a draw for the show. Like Mox was a draw for AEW, Jericho was a draw, Omega was a draw. That's always the first thing to know. remember that they need to have someone that will draw in people to watch the show. Who sells the most merch, who can draw in the most people. And the sad reality was Hangman didn't do it.
Which I find really confusing, because his story
is really good.
Hangman's story from the complete underdog to then come back, defeat Kenny Omega, win the match. It's one of the best stories that AEW have told.
And but you also have to include as well his falling out with the Elite. His alcoholism after he failed to become the first AEW champion, that would have drawn people in as well.
Exactly. I think the story was just everybody, in a way, felt for Hangman. Everyone looked at him and thought, that's someone I want to cheer for.
He was like Joe, who some people compared Hangman to as a good guy. Joe, who some people compared him to. Did you ever play The Last of Us?
No, sadly I didn't.
The video game. The character Joel, he's a very down-and-out character, and he saves the main character, Ellie. He protects her through the whole way. And he was a very down-and-out character like Hangman Adam Page.
Yeah, in a way, it's sort of similar, probably to...
Do you know the game I'm talking about?
I have never played the game, so very good.
I've played the beginning, but I've never played it all the way through, so...
I suppose the way you have described him is Hangman Page in a nutshell. And I think he had a great relationship with Dark Order, which he still does. It's still one of my favourite relationships in AEW. And his journey to the World Championship was expertly told. It's just that when he got there, it just wasn't given. People just didn't invest in it, and I find that sad. Personally,
it was a sad state of affairs for Hangman.
Yeah, I think he's just a character that you sort of, when you watch him, you think, I really like that guy. I want to cheer for that guy. I mean, I was so happy when he won that World Championship, and he just didn't get the recognition it deserved, unfortunately.
I agree with you, Scott. I quite enjoyed the story being told when he was the underdog and defeated a guy like Kenny Omega. Defeating a guy like Kenny Omega actually excelled him, and then he just he had this some kind of strange decline, which moves on to the comment that Ian made, and I agree with both of you. You know, both of you brought some great points there. A champion as Hangman Page should have had that elevation, and he should have been the draw, really. Viewers should have stayed and stuck with him, but for some strange reason, he just scaled off the TV. And viewers just stripped.
Probably derailed him with the stories that were going at the time, because when Hangman won the title, what story was starting off in AEW? Does anyone know?
What was the question, sorry?
What was the...
Another thing that I think declined in Hangman's title run was the stories he was given, because when Hangman started his run as championship, going into his first feud with Daniel Bryan, what feud in AEW was starting to kick off?
Right, so that'd be late last year, beginning of this year.
After Full Gear, when he won the title, and he was starting his feud with Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson, what feud in AEW was kicking off at the same time that they were building to? That got more people invested.
MJF and Wardlow.
MJF and CM Punk.
Well, yeah, because I think
was that was the time when MJF come out and made that statement?
Yeah, because MJF had come off his feud with Darby. Punk had come off his match with Kingston, and they were starting to build a feud with Punk and MJF.
Yeah, that's right. So in a way, I suppose it overshadowed him.
Plus, Kenny Omega had to go time off for injury, so they needed something to invest in, and they put Punk and MJF together.
Yeah, and another thing that sort of does make it a bit sad. I mean, if you see the calibre of people that Hangman did actually beat, I mean, Bryan Danielson he beat in a match that was matched for ages after a 60-minute time-made draw. Adam Cole twice. Lance Archer in a Texas death match. I mean, that's not really a poor collection of results. That's actually a pretty decent.
The only two people that were believable threats at the time to Cole's reign were both Danielson and Cole. Like, Archer was never a threat. Archer was never going to beat him. He also faced Dante Martin. Dante Martin was never going to beat him.
Oh yeah, understandable. But it's still, if you look at it as a non-kayfabe thing, well, Archer, big dude in his own speciality match. A lot of people would still consider Hangman the underdog, even though we all knew he was going to win.
It was he had a great. No, I remember the match. It was brilliant. Yeah, he was going to, but Archer was never going to beat him.
Well, yeah, he was never going to, but from a non-kayfabe sort of scenario, people would expect Archer to win. For a non-wrestling fan, we'll look at Archer, he's a bigger dude than Hangman, in a special match. A lot of people actually, those in the know, who watch wrestling regularly, yeah, we knew Hangman was going to win. But if you look at it from a real life sort of standpoint, you'd think, well, Archer should, beat Seven Shades out of him. Because in the storyline, we knew Hangman was going to win. From an outsider's point of view, then it's an impressive resume. I mean, Danielson, one of the top names in professional wrestling, was only just joined, was really red hot at the time. Adam Cole, I know, was red hot. Archer's a bit of a tricky one because he's not really, apart from when he first joined, those first few months, he hasn't really been elevated like fans would hope. But still, from out, it's a decent resume that he racks up.
Archer has a decent resume, but Joe, what would happen? What would happen to him if he had won the AEW championship? What would have happened to him, I think?
Well,
his title reign would be equivalent of Kane's first WWE title reign in '98.
Yeah. It's weird. Big men in history have never really had brilliant title reigns. It's always been the smaller guys that have had the most iconic.
The smaller guys are more agile, can do more.
Yeah.
Giant wrestlers are very limited. The only giant wrestler that's had great title reigns, not always great title reigns, but has had a few great title reigns, would be The Undertaker.
Yes.
Giants can only do certain things because they're built to be monsters. That's why Vince likes pushing them. But the only one character that could do more than just a regular giant was The Undertaker.
I think someone similar would have been Braun Strowman. And he can.
Well, Strowman held the Universal title for 4 months. He held it longer than Kane's first reign in '98. The only longest reign Kane had was with the World Championship in 2010. He held on to that for about 4 or 5 months, losing in December that year.
Interesting point of view there. Last question to wrap it up. We'll start off with Tim. Who's right? Who is the White Rabbit?
White Rabbits.
Tim?
I think it's Bray Wyatt.
You think it's Bray Wyatt?
It has to be Bray Wyatt.
Because, like Karen Cross did, he's not the White Rabbit. A lot of people would say Karen Cross. Karen Cross immediately said, like, I'm not the White Rabbit. So I think it's Bray Wyatt, the White Rabbit.
I only say.
Bray Wyatt. Actually, you're just talking about Bray Wyatt there. Do you know when we were talking about Giants there? When we were talking about Giants.
Yeah, go on.
One person that could have been a giant that could have carried AEW with the championship was obviously the late Brody Lee, because he could do more than just be a giant, and he could fly and move.
I say White Rabbit because Karrion Kross had that character in Lucha Underground. Scott, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, I think many fans are hoping for Bray Wyatt. I mean, I know there's been loads and loads of teasers around that's not quite come to fruition just yet. Maybe it's a timing thing, I don't know. And who else could it be? I saw somebody in a different chat recommend Adam Rose because he won the team with a person in the White Rabbit suit. That would be a massive letdown for me personally.
Well, it won't be Adam Rose because he retired years ago and he got busted many times. He has a criminal record.
Yeah, if it was Adam Rose, I probably would cry.
I'd be gutted as well, but it's not going to be him because he's been in a lot of shit. He was in a lot of shit in the last few years of his career, and he got a record for it.
Bray Wyatt is the one I really want. I mean, apart from Bray, who could it be? Really, realistically, I mean, the Rabbit was a part of the Firefly Funhouse. I mean, it does make sense.
Yes. And Ramblin' Rabbit always died.
And maybe this is a way, storytelling that the Rabbit has come back to life. And he is stronger. He is bigger.
Yeah, because, Ramblin' Rabbit was always a character that died in the Firefly Funhouse. How many times did WWE kill or ruin many of Bray Wyatt's characters?
Exactly, and this White Rabbit being stronger is a great analogy for the actual career of Bray Wyatt. Now he's coming back bigger, he's coming back stronger, he's coming back better than ever. The analogy fits absolutely perfectly.
It's basically a case of what doesn't kill us makes us stronger.
Absolutely.
I agree with you. Interesting.
But the thing is, though, Jace, you've said countless times that Bray Wyatt's not going to show. So, in your opinion, I'm going to turn the question round on you. Who is the White Rabbit, Jason?
My opinion, and people have off-thrown every pay-per-view. So, every pay-per-view, people have predicted Bray Wyatt. The two YouTubers, See Wrestling, Wrestling Days, every pay-per-view since WrestleMania 36, all the way from last year, has predicted that Bray Wyatt was going to return each month. Has been wrong all the way up to now. The only person, the only wrestler that this seems to be linking to is Karrion Kross. In that QR code, you go to this little hanging thing. And in that picture, it's showing like an hourglass just twisting round. Again, that is Scarlett coming out with the hourglass. Again, with the theme song, I get what people are saying. It could be linked to Bray Wyatt, but I'm skeptical. I'm always skeptic. I'm always skeptic on the issue regarding Bray Wyatt, and that is only because Wrestling Days, See Wrestling on YouTube has been wrong for the past 12 months, past 13 months, and has predicted massively that he would return. Regarding to last month, he predicted on his YouTube channel that Judgment Day, this vignette that Edge was returning. He pronounced that he saw Bray Wyatt in this vignette. Look what happened. We saw Edge return. Did we see Bray Wyatt return and Money in the Bank when Edge come back? No, we didn't. Again, this could just be that many fans are wanting Bray Wyatt, but they could just be getting thrown off what is the real issue, and I think it's Karrion Kross, and that's just my opinion, because Karrion Kross was the White Rabbit in Lucha Underground. In indie wrestling. That's just my opinion.
There's any of these little encryptions and White Rabbit clues. Does it kind of remind you of all the encryption clues they do for Chris Jericho when he was planning a return to WWE?
What? Sorry, go on.
Do you remember all those times, whenever Chris Jericho would go away, remember when he went away in 2005 and he came back in 2007 and they started leaving all some sort of little clues?
Yeah, I agree.
They did that in 2007, and they did another one for him in 2011, and then come back in 2012, and he wouldn't talk to the fans. It's kind of similar to something like that.
Many people are wanting it to be Bray Wyatt, but I'm very skeptic on it, man. Oh! Don't get me wrong. I would love it to be Bray Wyatt. I really would, but people have been so wrong for the past 13 months, and they've just been brought off guard by it. They've expected it to be Bray Wyatt, but it was Edge at Money in the Bank the whole time with this return. But at the end of the day, if how the scenario has happened with this thing with Edge, then it should have been Edge still as the faction leader all the way through. And that is another confusing thing. I just think it's just been similar to Retribution with this Judgment Day. The whole thing of it has just been like Retribution in the COVID era. What are your thoughts on that, Scott?
Retribution was handled really poorly. But I think, hopefully with Triple H now in charge, whatever ideas he comes up with will get better. I do want to see Judgment Day actually thrive, because factions similar to that in recent years had a very poor shelf life. So I would like to see more from Judgment Day. Actually give them a big push, because if you think about pay-per-view matches recently, they've lost them. They lost Edge and Ray at Clash of the Castle, which I think, considering Dominic's heel turn, was a mistake. I think Judgment Day should have won that match to elevate that storyline. And then they also lost to Mysterio at SummerSlam because of, that was due to Edge. But they're not getting the wins. And I think wins and losses need to be more important than they actually are, if you want to help tell a story better.
The one thing I do like, going back to Bray Wyatt, the one thing I do like that's been handled is when Triple H was asked in a conference regarding Bray Wyatt, he didn't say a yes or no answer, and he kept it as a stalemate, and like it was just like an unanswered question, and I think that was handled very, 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 very well with regards to Triple H.
But Vince has always been good about keeping secret. Like the three people he's keeping well secret are Bray Wyatt, Sasha Banks, and Naomi.
I think that is he handled that very, very, very well, and I applaud that. And it throws people like see wrestling days off guard. You know, they've been wrong all for 14, 13 months, and for someone to ask Trips that, I think Trips he did it very well with a straight face as well. You know, there weren't no emotional, or you could tell it with his body language. He handled it pristine. You know what I mean? He didn't let nothing off guard. You know. But anyway, I think that's to wrap it up for today. And thank you everyone for appearing on this show. This was the Contenders Corner Podcast, Hardtalk, and again, thank you for everybody contributing to this show, and hopefully we will have you all on for next week. And again, thank you, Ian, for participating and sharing your opinion. Thank you very much, man. And hopefully, if you've got time next week, you can come back on, mate.
Yeah, I'll do my best. I had fun now, to be honest.
Yeah. That was a good show, man. That was fun, man. Again, thank you very much, guys, and I hope you enjoyed the rest of your week and enjoy the wrestling.
Yeah, we'll do. See you next week.
See you next week, guys.
Hopefully see you next week now. Hopefully.
See you later.